Hi, I'm Jim Hull. Welcome to another session of Back to Business Basics. This is a video series where we're talking about the key items that you need to make a small business successful. So every one of these items is very important and it's been proven in the real world. So we're going to go through that. Before we get into that, let me give you just a quick background on myself so that you have a little bit of an idea on who you're listening to. So this is Marketing 102. So this is the second video in the marketing series, and we're all about making use of money. So that's what we're focused on, and that's what we're going to continue to focus on. And we're going to talk about the key business aspects of your business. First off, I'm Jim Hull, as I've already said, have 30 years in corporate America, a lot of big companies and a lot of small companies. And then I went out on my own, and I've been involved with about 10 different startups and companies on my own. So that's where I've been coming from. Okay, now our video. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 8 different topics on marketing. First off, we're going to have a review of what we covered in Marketing 101. Then we're going to go into calculating the lifetime value of a client. That's very, very important. Third, we're going to go into buying customers. Yes, you can just go out and buy them, and that's so nice to have more customers. Then we're going to talk about creating your USP. If you don't know what that is, stay tuned. Next, we're going to talk about what if you are not unique. Okay. Sixth item we're going to talk about is product portfolio. Seventh is how to do a survey. And 8, we're going to create a marketing statement for you. We're going to help you create it. You're actually going to do all the work. All right, so let's go back to a review of Marketing 101. One of the things that we said, and is extremely important for you to keep in mind, is you are in business to make money. Remember that. When's a key time to remember that? Well, a key time to remember that is when you're looking at your to-do list for what are you going to do tomorrow, today, what have you. Now, you do have a to-do list, right? Because if you don't, that's a whole other topic, but you're going to have one. So you sit down and you look at that list and say, does this thing make me money? If it makes me money, okay, fine. If it doesn't, lower the priority. Lower it way, way down. Next item we got out of 101 is marketing is an investment. You must be getting a return on your money. You put in $100, you want more than $100 back. You'd love to get $200 back, or $300, or $500, or $1,000, but you've always got to make more than you invested. Keep that in mind. Third item, we talked a little bit about picking a target. Marketing and business there's some of it is similar to a date or dating, the whole process of dating. You don't go on a date to automatically say, well, okay, I'm going to date you and then we're going to get married and blah, blah, blah. Some people do that, but that's not it. You go on a date and you see what you like, what you don't like. Then you go on a date with maybe a second date with the same person, or you decide you didn't like him and you move on. So there's aspects about each one of these targets or dates that you're going to like or you're going to dislike. And over time, you're going to start to hone in. And you're going to find the best target for you. Now, the analogy falls apart when I'm going to tell you that you can have multiple targets that you aim at, but you start with one and you make sure that you're focused on what that one is and what they're doing good for you. Finally, what we did is we gave you a tip, and that is that try something that worked for you. Something that in the past, maybe the early stages of your company, you ran a marketing campaign and it worked and you made money off of it. Well, then repeat it. Do it again and again and again. If you've got campaigns that work, then hallelujah, you don't have anything to worry about. Just keep running them. Now, what you'll look at then is which works the best. That's the one where you invest the most money and get the best return, okay? So we'll keep that one in mind, and we'll keep on going from there. Okay, now let's go on and look at the lifetime value of a client. Here's a formula that I've put up on the screen for how to calculate that. What's the average number of times a client buys from you in a year? Maybe that's once. Right? Maybe it's only once every 5 years. Who knows? But maybe it's 10 times. Maybe it's 50 times. Whatever it is. Figure out what that average number is, and you can take a ballpark guess. That's okay. What is the average cost per purchase? So if you're providing a specific service, that might be fairly easy to come up with, or maybe you've got multiple things that they could get into. So, but on average, what is it that they pay for each one of those items, or the total purchase that you're going through? Then, what is your current profit margin on a sale? So that comes out of the bookkeeping. You're paying so much for the product or the service, and then there's labor, and there's all kinds of overhead and all the rest of it. So your accountant, your bookkeeper can give you a profit margin, which is the percentage of profit that you get on a sale. And so figure out what that is. So your yearly profit from this is going to be A times B times C. So it's the number of times that they buy from you, the average cost per purchase, and then the profit margin. So that's what your yearly profit is on a client, but that's yearly. So then the next variable you put in is how long does a client stay with you? How many years? So finally, what you do is you take your yearly profit times the number of years, and you come up with the total lifetime value of a client. Okay? Let me give you an example. Business that I have, my typical pest extermination client gets a treatment 4 times a year, and each one costs $75, and my profit margin runs about 75% on each one of those treatments. They typically will stay with me about 4 years. So you go through and you stick that into the formula, and it comes out that the average client is worth $900 to me, okay? So that's an important thing. When you're thinking about your clients, you think, okay, every client that I have is typically going to be worth $900. Now, this is an average, and you need to understand that, and you have to look at what your business is. If you're a real estate agent, you're only going to sell to a given family on average once every 5 years. So it's very different numbers. And one of the things that this formula doesn't factor in is the value of referrals. So you have to add in what that value is of a referral. But we'll come back to referrals in another video and go through that in much more depth. But for now, look at it and apply this to your business and figure out what it is, comes up with the average lifetime value. And now we'll go to the next item, and I'll show you how to deal with that. Oh, wait a second. This slide is out of order. So let me move on. That slide is out of order too. I don't appear to have the slide that I'm wanting. All right. Anyway, let's go back. Lifetime value. I've given you what the formula is, and you've seen what that is. Okay. Oh, so the next item that we're going to talk about is buying the customer. So if you know, or in my case, I did know that on average, a customer is going to make me profit, pure profit, $900. What does that do for me in terms of how I market? Well, the way I looked at it is I normally charge them $75. And we get people who call up and say, okay, here, your pest control, got a recommendation, what do you charge? Okay, and we go through all of that stuff. But what if I said, well, my normal price is $75. Because you're being recommended from this great friend of mine, or because you called this week and we're running a special, I'm going to offer you this exact same service for $25. So it's only your first time service, but it's a chance for you to get to know us. Or what if I put a flyer in a home that was just purchased, let's say, a month ago? It says, hey, I work in the neighborhood, I have a lot of customers here that enjoy my service and so forth, and I'd like you to welcome to the neighborhood. And so what I'm going to do is I will give you the first pest control treatment for $25. So as it happens, $25 covers all of my direct costs. In fact, it covers my indirect costs. I could have gone even lower, but At some point, people start to get suspicious. The 25 we found wasn't such a problem. So I pay 25. I charge them only $25 for that first treatment. So I've taken $50, the difference, off of the 900, and so I'm only going to get 850 if they stay with me. But a lot of people, they stay with you once they see the personality that you offer, the service that you offer, the quality of the delivery that you provide. They see that and they say, I kind of like that. And so they stick with that. And so whereas other people, other pest control exterminators, they may say, okay, I charge $75. I'll tell you what, I'll take $10 off. They give them what sounds like a reasonable discount on the first treatment. But they can't compete with my 25. And they're scratching their head saying, how in the world can you do that? You can't be making a reasonable amount of money as a pest control operator if you're not charging closer to the 75. That's true, because there's a lot of other expenses that go into it. So they're scratching their head trying to figure out, how in the world am I making any money at $25? And I'm laughing all the way to the bank, because every customer that I bring in turns out bringing me $850 more. And so that's a way that you can consider buying your customers. So consider that. And the whole key goes back to, what's the lifetime value? How much money are you going to be getting from this person? And once you know what that profit is, then you can all of a sudden look at it differently in terms of, how do you discount? What type of a deal do you offer? Maybe you throw in some other packages or products or something. You do bonuses. You entice them, because typically they're going to come back and they're going to spend money with you again and again and again. So the real profit you're making is not just the first sale. It's accumulation of all the other sales. Good. Okay. Now we're going to go to creating your USP. A USP stands for unique selling proposal. What makes you unique? So let's go back to what we were talking about in 101. We talked some about the message, and these are the items that we covered in the message. This time I've highlighted in red some of those things that really becomes important. Like, why should I listen to you as they read or listen or hear your marketing message? What makes you better? Are you unique? How do you stand out from the competition? All of this is your unique selling proposition. So as you craft something, remember that the prospects have a lot of questions about why they should consider this. And if you've thought about it since the last video, hopefully you've been evaluating, how do you think about these exact same things? Whether you hear an ad on TV, you read something in the newspaper, you see something come across your email, you're talking to somebody, you get a flyer, whatever it is, you're asking these same critical questions. Why am I going to spend money here? Why should I listen to this particular guy just because his postcard showed up in my mailbox? What makes him better than the other 50 people that I get emails from that talk about this stuff? Is there something unique about him? If he's unique, I want to listen to that. So that's what it is that they're looking for. You've got to come up with something like that. So guess what? Then your question is, what if you're not? Again, I get that. Let's go back here for a second. What if you're not unique? You're not unique, huh? So you got into business as a pest control operator, and you find out in Houston, where I'm at, there's 5,000 pest control operators. Now, I pull that number out of the air because I don't remember exactly how many, but boy, it sure seems like it. They're everywhere because the bugs are everywhere. Bugs. I mean, humidity and the heat, bugs love it. And so how do you be unique? The fact of the matter is We all kill bugs. We all use the same kind of pesticides because Texas, like most states, has regulated this is the pesticide that you can use, and you can't use this other stuff. So there's very little variation in the pesticide you can use. So you come, you spray their house, and you leave. The amount of time takes about the same. So what is it that's going to make you unique? You've got to look at that and figure out what's going on. Well, our investigation found, well, one of the things was that it's mostly women that we're dealing with. The woman is more likely the one at home during the day when we come than anybody else. So we said, all right, let's make sure we're making the women happy. And what is it the women like? Well, they don't like us coming in and messing up their house. So if you happen to walk through their yard and you're doing things to spray around their yard, the outside of the house, and then you come in the house and you start tracking mud, guess what? They don't like it. So we're going to make sure that we don't do that anymore. So we started down that path of what are the things that they would like to see from the person that is dealing with them. Well, one of them is they want the person to be friendly. And depending upon the woman, sometimes they want the person to be chatty. Sometimes they just want you to get it done and get out, but it depends. But so you try to gauge that. And so you try to train the people and what it is that the person wants. We started wearing booties. So we would come in the house, okay, let me put the booty on just in case I get some dirt on the bottom of my shoe. And they loved that. So that's one of the things that we talked about. The other thing that we found is pest control operators typically work from 8 in the morning till 5 at night. Well, if you've got both husband and wife working, or it's a single parent or a single homeowner, they're working during the day. So we said, okay, 24 hours a day. You tell me the time that you want us to be there. We'll be there. We don't care. So we started advertising that as well. It got a lot of interest, and we got a number of people who used it and continue to use it because it fits with their schedule, but it wasn't that big of an issue. So while we still continue to do it, and those who know about it and those who ask the question, we say, oh yeah, we'll come in the evening, we'll come on the weekends. We had one guy, he called up and said, okay, I'd like you to come and treat my house. He said, okay, fine. When can you come? We said, anytime. He said, okay. How about 7:30 Sunday morning? Sure, we'll be there. He later told me, I was just joking around. I didn't think you'd say yes to that. But my son got up and he went. He was there at 7:30 and treated the guy's house. And he's been a loyal customer ever since. He doesn't ask for 7:30 Sunday morning anymore. So that really worked out good for us. We didn't want to keep doing that one. So anyway, look at what it is that can make you unique. And sometimes you may have to create it. Sometimes it's something else. I bring a rose. That's a possibility. Bring a rose to the lady of the house, or if a lady made the appointment, just show up with a rose. And they have these cute little things that you can put in the bottom of the stem that has a little bit of water and it seals it, so the rose stays fresh. Give them a rose, so they're happy with that. Look for something that you can do to make it unique. I've seen chimney sweeps who dress in stovepipe hat and the whole gimmick and so forth. So there's all kinds of things like that you can do. So look for something and keep going forward with that. Okay, let me see. So product portfolio, that's the next one to think about. A product portfolio is everything that you offer besides what your main offering is. So in the case of a pest control operator, okay, what do? We come and we kill bugs. What else do we do? That really is about it. I mean, and what we've done a lot of is we do a free estimate. We come out and we'll do a look at what's going on. If they've got questions, sometimes we'll get people who say, well, I think I might have an animal in the attic. Okay, we'll come out, we'll take a look and tell you what it is. If it's something we can deal with, okay. And so then we'll give them some free advice on how to deal with that. We've had people who say, well, I've got ants coming up to my house, it drives me crazy. It's been raining, so the ants come in and it makes a mess. And my wife hates these ants. What can we do? He says, well, would you like me to tell you how to fix it, or would you like me to come and do it for you? She says, really? You'll do that? So we give them free advice. So that's one that has worked as well. Another thing we did is, well, we can do odor elimination. So if you'd like odor taken care of in your house. And so one guy said, hey, I'm painting my house, and my partner, he hates the idea of the smell of fresh paint. I said, I don't mind it, but it really bothers him. What can you do? So, well, okay, after you paint, we'll come in. We've got some machines, and we can run those machines, and we can get rid of the odor. We can cut it way, way back. And they said, oh, okay, great. I love that. So we did that. So look at things that you can add to the service. You'll find some companies that have taken this, way too extreme. Well, maybe it's not extreme. They may have started as a pest control company, but now they've got a plumbing branch. Now they've got a roofing branch. Now they've got a lawn care group. All of a sudden what they're doing is they're taking services that they can provide at the home and say, let's add that, let's add that, let's add that. And they start small, okay, I'll hire one plumber to do blah, blah, blah. So that's one way to do it. The other thing that can be done, and we did this quite a bit, is we created a postcard, I think 5x7 postcard, and it listed a whole bunch of different people who did services in the home. And so we would talk to them and say, well, if you ever have any other services, I've got a great Rolodex of people that I know and I trust. If you want, I'll even give you this card. So we give them the card. Sometimes they want the card. Sometimes, I'll just call you if I need services. Okay, great. And then you're like a referral service to them as well. And these people that I had on my card, I says, oh, by the way, I'm referring you, and if you ever get a chance to refer me, I would appreciate it. But it wasn't mandatory, and so that worked for quite a while. Next item that we had on the list for today is how to do a survey. A lot of the things we talked about are, what is it that your client wants? What is it that tells you how they're going to search for you? And so one of the ways you can deal with that is you can do a survey. And you can talk to your existing customers, and they'll give you all kinds of insight as to what they do, how they think, how they operate, and so forth. So when we started the company, we were faced with a person came to us and says, you need a web page. You got to have a web page. Everybody's got to have a web page. I said, okay, fine. What's a web page going to cost me? $1,500. Excuse me, do I really need a web page? Well, yes, you do. Everybody's on the net. Everybody's searching. That's how they find out whatever it is that they want. So I thought about that, and I said, no, I think I'm going to put that into a survey. So I created a survey, sent it out to about 50 people, mostly clients, but there were a few people that were friends of mine. And so I asked a series of questions. Well, one of them was, how do you find a pest control operator when you've moved into a new home? And I gave them a bunch of possible answers, including other, in case I'd missed, I didn't have the right thing that was there. The interesting thing that came out of that is 78% of them looked for a referral, and that's how they found somebody. 9% did a search on the web. And everybody told me, well, that's crazy, and I talked to some other pest control operators in other cities, and they had done surveys, and they found the same thing. That yeah, it's not bad to have a website, and if you've got a website, they'll go and they'll look at it and say, okay, fine, but 9 times out of 10, it's, okay, I got a referral from my neighbor, and I wanted a referral because I'm letting some guy come in my house to kill bugs. I want to make sure that is safe before I do that. It's okay, fine. So I didn't spend $1,500 right away. In fact, I think I ended up creating one myself, and it wasn't necessarily the best, but still, it was enough proof that I'm a real company than anything else. So I said, okay, that's good. There's a lot of different ways you can do surveys. If you want to go through email, SurveyMonkey is a great one. I've used that. It's free. It's limited. Like, I think I could only have 10 questions, and you never want to do more than 10 questions anyway. Have you ever gotten one of these surveys from the store? Here, go fill out our survey. It only takes 15 to 20 minutes. What? I'm not giving you 20 minutes. I tear it up, throw it away. Oh, but you could get 5% off of one of the next things that you buy next time you come. No, not for 20 minutes. But 10 questions or 6 questions, that's easy. So SurveyMonkey, for the free, you can get up to 10 questions, and I think you can send it, I can't remember whether it's 50 people or 100 people. But there's nothing that says you can't send the same survey a week later to a different group of people and a different group and so forth. But generally, depending upon what your results are, and the better the people know you, the more likely they are to answer your survey if they know it's going to be short. So if you send an email to your customer, you say, hey, look, 6 real quick questions, just trying to get a gauge of a couple things and trying to see if there's some way we can improve our service and do something better for you. So, oh, wait, this could help me. Okay, then I'll go answer those 6 quick questions. And you do that. And you keep it simple and straightforward. You can go back and survey them in 2 months or 3 months, and that's not going to bother them. But there's other alternatives. I'm not trying to plug SurveyMonkey. It's just that I tried it. It was so easy. I never checked out any of the other ones. I think Google and Google Docs has something. There's a couple others. I just don't remember what the names are. But you can, just Google surveys, free surveys, and you can find out the information that you need. So that's a way, and that answers a lot of the questions. You say you've picked a target. We picked females, and so we sent the survey out and says, well, how often is it the female that makes the decision on the pest control? And I got like 91% females, 9% males. Now that's where there was a female and a male in there. So the first thing I ask is, are you male or female? And is there one of the other? I don't remember how I asked that one, but how you ask the question is going to be important. So when I found that I was dealing with a married couple, then I could get to the question of, okay, what percentage of the time does the wife take care of it, female take care of it versus the male take care of it? And so that helped me get a better understanding. So in some cases, the male would make the decision, but then the female took care of everything after that. So again, surveys are great for getting that type of information. And with SurveyMonkey, one of the things I remember is a lot of the questions that you want to ask, they've got samples of those questions. And they've tested the wording, because the wording can be very, very important. There's ways that you can ask a question that's kind of leading to the answer you want. That doesn't help you as a business owner. You want an objective answer. So you're not doing a political poll saying, well, I want you to say that you're going to vote Republican, that you're going to vote for Donald Trump. So you ask the question in a way, isn't he proposing some very interesting things? Well, yeah, he's proposing interesting things, whatever, but that doesn't mean I'm going to vote for him. So you have to be careful with the word. And so they're good with how do you ask those questions. Plus there's some just general questions like, are you male or female? And do you normally deal with this type of a situation, making this decision, or does your spouse or partner make that decision? So there's pieces like that you can put in. Simple and straightforward in the wording. And I don't know, I think I spent maybe an hour reading through some of the stuff and looking at it and say, oh, okay, I understand. So I use their questions for a lot of the simple, straightforward ones, and then the ones that were more specific to me, and then I could figure out how to word it, and then the different options to put in, the multiple choice type stuff. So that's a good one to get into, because that will help you a lot. All right, now the 8th thing that we're dealing with today is a marketing statement. Not quite a plan, not kind of strategy, but a statement. So let's look at how you come up with that. This is fairly straightforward. Let's see. All right, we talked about that one. Okay, the marketing statement. There are 6 sentences that you need to complete to do this. And let me suggest that you do this in 5 minutes. Don't spend forever thinking about it. Don't try to make it wonderful and perfect. Just write down off the top of your head the answers to all 6 of these statements. And this will give you an amazing direction for what you want to do. First question, the purpose of XYZ company is to blank. Fill in the blank. So whatever your company is, what's the purpose? Second, this purpose will be accomplished by fill in the blank. The target client for this product or service will be fill in the blank. We want our company to be seen as fill in the blank. And I'll give you an example that'll help with that in a little bit. With a reputation for fill in the blank. And then what percentage of sales will be used for marketing? Now, some companies are spending 3%. Some 5, some 10, some 20. Remember, marketing is an investment. If you're spending $100 and you're getting $200 back, you kind of got a gold mine. Spend a lot because you're going to make a lot. But anyway, these 6 sentences, when you fill them out, will give you something very, very powerful. Let's go to the next slide, and I'll give you an example. Let me read this example. The purpose of Bugs Be Gone LLC is to provide pest extermination service to residential and commercial clients. So I've identified what we do, extermination service, and I've defined at least a broad category of the target. This will be accomplished by providing exemplary service to homeowners and apartment communities. So that goes with the target. I've actually defined 2 targets here. Our target residence clients are female, bought their house in the last 6 months, live within 10 miles of our office, which happens to be in a higher income area. So what I've done is I've started to focus in on that client. Female, recently purchased a home. In our case, we found that once they've tried a pest control operator and like them, they won't change. Even if I go in and say, $25, $25, I've got to get them before they've called the pest control operator for the first time. And then we said within 10 miles of our offices. Part of our expense is going to that client. So we're traveling from the office to them. Why not have somebody who's close by? I don't need to drive 80 miles to make $75 if I can do it within 10 miles. So that's kind of what we were looking at. Also, being in a higher income area, it's easier for them to afford it. And not only can they afford it, they're more likely to come back 4 times a year. Some of our lower income areas, they'll call when it gets really, really bad. And then they won't call again until it gets really, really, really bad. Or the wife threatens to leave or something. All right, the next part of the statement. The apartment communities are 200 plus units, so they're big. They're classes C and B. That's an economic and quality indicator. So they're in the middle of the range, not the highest. And they're within 30 miles of our office. In this case, we took a wider one because they pay us 2.5 times as much for the work that we do. So we're willing to drive farther and take a little bit more time at it. And they tend to come back very, very frequently. I mean, in the summer, if we're killing bed bugs, we're at an apartment community almost once a week, sometimes twice a week. Okay, and then we want our company to be seen as the friendliest, woman-focused, and cleanest of the industry. Even in apartment communities, 95% of the people in the office are female. So we're dealing with the same type of a person. You know, she likes friendly. If they're not too busy, they like to chat. She wants somebody who's dressing neat. Um, on and on. So that's what we focus on. Cleanliness is very important. It's important, I mean, to the staff, to the owner of the home, but it's also important to the resident. If you track dirt into an apartment, that resident's going to call up the office and complain. And if you get a couple of complaints coming into the office after you've been treating uh, their apartment homes, they're just not going to call you back. So we wanted to be clean. We knew that had to be done. Our reputation will be that of the treatment operators you trust and love, because we're just so darn friendly and nice and supportive and helpful. We'll answer your questions. We'll give you advice. I mean, my son has given the exact name and the exact location of the spray can that can be used to go kill ants if that's what your problem is and you don't want us to do it. He says, I'll give it to you. I don't care. I just want to get rid of the bugs. We look at it from the point of view, if this, well, his view is, if my mother had a problem and she asked me a question, I could say, what would you like me to do, dear? You want me to go get the can and spray it for you? You want to do that yourself? Either way, I'll do it. You get questions, I'll answer your questions all day long. So he constantly looks and thinks about it as, I'm talking to my mother. So that's kind of his avatar. So he's friendly, he's nice, he tells them stories, he'll joke with them, all kinds of things like that. And they love it, and probably because he thinks of them as the avatar is his mother, he doesn't get any dates from them, but I suppose that's probably better. All right, let me keep going. And then 10% of our gross sale will be used to reach out to clients. So we've just said, fine, if we take 10% of our gross, that's going to continue plowing in and giving us more and more clients. So that's what we're looking for. So that's an example of the statement. And so that gives you an idea of where we're at, okay? And then, okay, so this is kind of the wrap up. We've covered all of the things that we had talked about from the beginning. Each of these videos will have will be unique set of different topics that we go through, and like I mentioned before, if you're interested in a topic that I have not covered yet and you're not sure when I'm going to, don't hesitate to send in a note and I will cover them. These videos will range from 15 to 60 minutes, so I think we're approaching somewhere around 45 minutes right now on this one. So I've got a long list of topics, categories, about 75. So I'm covering all the things that I found have been very important, either in my direct businesses or in the businesses of business owners that I coach. So these are important items and things to be considered at all times. If you have a quick question, don't hesitate to send me an email. The email address is up there on the screen, jim@theprofitmaestro.com. Maestro is Maestro. And if you want to talk at length about your business and what it may need and so forth, then feel free to call and schedule a meeting at bit.ly/clarity-call, and we can go from there. So thank you for your time today, and I appreciate your listening, and I hope you're getting some value out of this. Thank you again. This is Jim Hull signing off.